And we're back. Yes.
Yay.
How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'll be better if technology responded every day.
Right. Good. And at the bottom, we can see the breakout rooms, everybody. So let me just go and see if I can make hosts out of you. Hold on a minute.
Can you make me co-host, Paul?
Yeah, exactly.
Co-host.
Bibba, where are you? I'm looking for Bibba here. Yeah, gotcha. Right, gotcha. Okay, right. What I'll also do is I'll give you permission to. You should be able to record as well.
Yes, I can, and I am.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to record this to the cloud. We're already recording, so we're fine. Yeah. Okay, great. Welcome, everybody. How many are we now? 15? Great, fantastic.
I think that was about it.
Yeah.
I had 17. 17
I
count
think
when
it
I
was
jumped
20
off.
when we left the group.
I hope that everybody found the link and will hop on. Perhaps a quick message in the Facebook group or so to just say that we changed link. Yeah, okay, great, John. Fantastic, brilliant. Okay, right, good. Just to, I haven't operated breakout rooms. We haven't operated breakout rooms before, so this is going to be a little bit of an experiment. But the idea is that we would do some brainstorming work, and just a couple of words on the brainstorming principles, just to be clear. So let's say if we were a group of 4 or 5 people, I suppose it'll be 5 people if we break up in groups here, then the idea is that, for instance, one person would be clear and say what his main controlling argument is, right? If you've still got a problem with that, with defining what your main controlling argument is, then obviously come out and say that too, because then the brainstorming needs a bit more information on your avatar before. Yes, okay. But the best place to start would be like when you say what's your controlling argument, and the other 4 people can then start to chip in with the next step, which is after, that's on page 16, you then have questions that highlight your controlling argument. Yeah, just to check with everybody, who's already clear on their main controlling argument from the bottom of page 15? Yeah, who has a problem with that? Niam? So you have a problem with that. Okay, right. Okay, then I think, yeah, the first brainstorm should really then be about your controlling argument. So let's focus on getting that right first, because that's where everything really branches off. Okay, and the way to do this then, to get clear on the controlling argument, is to make sure that, you know, one person takes about, say, 2-3 minutes to explain what his avatar's main problems are, and desires and fantasies and wishes. So essentially what comes before, which is pretty much your page like 12, 13, 14, yes? And then the other 4 people can help to chip in to brainstorm on what the controlling argument really is out of those pains and problems. Okay, shall we start like this? Because there are too many people not quite clear on the controlling argument yet, and I think that's important to set that first. Yes, and who's understanding controlling argument, what it really is all about? Is there anybody unclear about this? What it really means at this point? The definition, what it should sound like, the controlling argument. Ari and Sheena. Right. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, to give you an example, Caroline, can you come out and, yes, sorry to put you on the spot like this. Yesterday in the call, right? You came up with a controlling argument about job and security. Can you just, in a couple of words, give an example, please? Because that was a marvelous one.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah. So a bit like the vision example that Dan had on the call on Sunday, where the controlling argument was hard work equals success, and basically and busting that myth.
Yeah. So that's an example. Yeah. Or you could say it in different ways, like how do you how is security in a job versus a business nowadays? Like a question mark almost, that you're questioning that belief, right? So it's a statement or a belief. Hey Judith, how you doing?
I am great.
Good. Yeah, you haven't missed anything.
Good.
Yeah. So it needs to be like a statement or a phrase. And I guess, yeah, the best way to check if it is really one is to ask yourself, is this like questioning a belief, right? So if you ask that question, then I'm sure you will discover whether your statement or your question is in fact a controlling argument. Yes, because that's what you're throwing into question. That is the belief that you're questioning. Yes, is everybody aligned with that, or still not clear? Then by all means, yeah. Right. Okay. Biba and John, can we do like this also, that all three of us keep an eye on the chat as well, so that we're sure also not to miss anything?
Yeah, no
Great,
worries,
great. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. So we're about 20 people. I don't know if we can manage to get like 4 groups of, we're 21 people now, that we could manage. Hi, Alice. That we could manage to do like 5 or like, if we have 7 groups of 3, but the bigger groups, like 4 per 4 would actually be better, I think, if we can manage that somehow, to have groups of 4. So if we could have like 4 groups of 5 and then 1 group of 6. 3 groups of 5 and 1 group of 6, for instance. Yes.
Paul, do you have breakout rooms on your screen? Because I haven't got it, so I can't control the breakout rooms.
I have.
Okay.
What about you, John? Are you seeing it?
No, mate. You'll have to make me host to make me see it.
Right. Hold on a minute.
Host or co-host?
Yeah,
I did already.
I'm a co-host, but I still can't see it. So I think it's only the host that can see that.
Right, Bibba, I'm making you host, and then let's see what happens. Sorry, guys, we need to get the technology right here first.
I can see that now.
Yeah, great. Okay. And I can't anymore, so it's down to you now, Bibba. Have you operated this before with the breakout rooms? I haven't. So.
No, but I'll give it a go. It'll all be all right.
Yeah, great. Very good. So we're now 22. So if you could throw us into groups of 4.
Yeah, 4 would be better, I think, than 5.
Is that possible from your end, Bibba, to do?
It just says how many. Yeah, it says how many rooms. So it's 4 to 5 participants per room. I've set it to 5 rooms.
Yeah.
Are we happy with
Brilliant.
that?
Yes, great. Okay, just to repeat the exercise for people who have joined late, the idea is for people who are not fully clear yet on their controlling argument, is we're going to spend some time on that first, which means that one person is going to take his page 12, 13, 14, and in 2 minutes really say what the avatar's pains and problems and the main result and what is stopping them. And then the other 3 people will chip in to brainstorm on a number of potential controlling arguments. Okay, and this is without judging. So this is not, is this right? Is this wrong? You know, so the person who is in the hot seat, as it were, gives some guidance as to what his pain and problem and what his desire and fantasy and what his main result is all about, yes? And then that the other people chip in with ideas of what the potential controlling argument therefore could be, okay? And when we finish that, we'll come back to the forum here, yes? And then we can throw these results back on the table and do some fleshing out of that. Does that sound okay for everybody? Any questions around that? Good, super. Okay, let's give that a shot. Good to go. Biba, can you throw us in the rooms?
Good luck, Biba.
Paul, how long are we going to spend on this, just so we can?
Oh yes, 15
gauge?
minutes.
15
minutes. Yeah,
Cool.
Thank you.
great.
Let's do it.
I'm away, we're gone.
Hello.
Hello. You all right?
Yeah, what happened there?
I don't know. Why? Where did you go? I've got a countdown. They'll all be back in a minute. 10 seconds.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. I had a breakout rooms button at the bottom of my screen, and it said return to main session in 60 seconds. Ah,
Yeah,
there we
here
go.
they are. Yeah.
Whoa, we got.
Ooh,
That's
Oh, what
Yeah. We didn't.
Was that fun, or does everyone hate us?
yeah.
We didn't have sufficient time to complete our task. Who was in the same situation?
Everybody.
Okay.
Everyone.
So
Let's go back.
who finds this task not important enough to complete? Because otherwise we'll just go for another 15 minutes, another round.
I think
Very important, no?
Okay, I agree. Yes. So does everybody agree that we want to complete this task by doing another round?
that would be good.
Yes.
Yes.
Raise
John,
hands,
did
yeah.
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Double yes.
Great. Good. So we go back. Can you
Cool.
put us in the same rooms? Is that possible at all?
Sorry, say again.
Can you put us in the same rooms? Is that possible at all? It doesn't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
so. We should go in now.
Yeah. We're gone.
Looks like it. Yep. Going back to room 1.
I'm back. Hi, everyone.
Right. How are we doing?
Raise your hands if you had fun.
That's great. Yeah, some
Awesome.
feedback would be great indeed. Like, how did that go for? Does anybody from each breakout room perhaps want to venture a little bit how the process went for you?
I'll dig in straight away. I think one of the things that we were speaking about is that we're coming up with quite a few different controlling arguments without realizing it, and in actual fact, each controlling argument can have its own ad, because that's a complete like separate thread in itself, you know, a complete vein that you just run off on. And one of the things I think we were struggling with is the hypothetical examples and distinguishing those between like getting confused between hypothetical examples and metaphors and analogies. So that's where I'm at. I don't know what everybody else thought and what you guys want to dig into. Yeah.
We could work around this. We could work around this if you give us a couple of examples, John, right? And then perhaps we can work around this, because our group didn't get as far, but that's okay, because then we can see how we can solve a problem like this.
Okay. I mean, I didn't actually speak in my group. I was too busy trying to listen and help everyone else. But if I ran with mine, I would say 2 of mine would be not having the time to travel. Not having the time to travel and having the passive income to be able to travel all the time. But then there's another one, which is being about starting your own business, i.e. your own YouTube channel, and worrying about other people's opinions, worrying about putting yourself out there.
Okay, can I stop you for a moment? Can I stop you for a moment, John? You're now on the hypothetical examples, yes? And correct?
No, that's controlling arguments.
Controlling argument. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah. All right. Sorry. Yeah, go on.
So yeah, there's 2 there which are different, but again, you could run those off on 2 completely different ads, 2 different threads. So
yeah, which one? Yes, I would do that. And which one do you think you would like to start? You prefer to start fleshing out more?
I would probably say the worried about what other people think.
Okay.
And other people's opinions. That's yeah, that's probably the biggest one that I would delve into.
Right. And how would that controlling argument then sound really as a phrase, as a questioning belief, as...
How would it sound in the ad?
No, I mean how as a statement, yes, that defines what you've just said in one phrase. For instance, it could be something along the lines of, does it do you any good to be worried about what other people think? That would be like an example of a statement, right? And then you're away, because from this, can you see where I'm going with this? Then from this, you can build on that, correct?
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah. I have just literally like tons of scribbles down on my notepad, so it's trying to put it into a sentence on the spot. Yeah, but it would be, have you for years suffered in silence, always worried about what other people think, and not living up to your full potential, knowing that it doesn't actually matter what other people think, or they're probably not even like concerned about you anyway. Something like that.
Yeah. Now that's a hook and a story, which is brilliant. Yes. So remember that it's recorded, I hope, anyway. So, but now take the controlling argument out of that, because the controlling argument is still a little different from the hook and the story somehow. Can you feel that? I think what you said in the beginning. What was the hook when you said it in the beginning?
Why are you always suffering in silence?
Yeah.
Or have you always suffered in silence?
Yeah. From worrying that what people think about you.
Yes.
Is it really worth it to suffer in silence because of worrying what people think about you? ? I mean, it doesn't need to be a question, right? But that could be like your controlling argument. Are you with me on this?
Yeah.
Does it feel powerful enough to you to?
Yeah, I wouldn't say powerful. I would say deep. It would certainly capture me if somebody said that. So, Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because now you can build strong hooks off that. Yes. Off this controlling argument that you've just built. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So because, like you said, you have different threads. Yes. And this to you feels the strongest. Yes. That you want to go with this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. So you think you've got it down now with the controlling argument?
Definitely. What you've just said there, yeah. The way I've just worded, or the way you have worded that, I've worded that, yeah, that's kind of hit the nail on the head, and that's the thread. So, yeah.
Okay. Well done.
Epiphany moment.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Because, I've experienced that too, where you almost have to disentangle the many threads. You almost have to throw them all on paper and then to say, yes, they are different things. Yes, they are separate things. Yes. And then it's like, pick one.
Yeah, because I feel a lot of the time as well, we always have quite a few pains and problems, but there's always one underlying problem or pain that is causing the rest of them.
Yes.
So again, that one for me, worried about what people think all the time, that's almost the underlying problem for every other problem that is there. So
yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
There's something underlying that too.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm saying there's something underlying that. I mean, why do you care?
Well,
because I think the real controlling argument is whatever is making you think more about what other people care or think about you, than what you actually want for your life. What do you actually want for your life? Do you want other people to think that you're great or successful? Or do you want to be that? In which case, you're not going to care at all what other people think about you. It might be a side effect that they think something that makes you feel good about yourself, but there's something under that, like you might need to dig a little.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
That comes from a lack of self-acceptance. So that whole root of that is a lack of self-acceptance, because you're relying on other people's opinions of you to value your self-worth. Whereas if you can accept and value yourself, you don't need anybody else. So you can go several routes underneath what you had initially.
You guys have just created my next ad. Thanks. Yeah, no, that's you're right. You can cut away really deep there. That's awesome. I love that. Thanks, guys.
The way that Avery took this, like when you do something that you're passionate about, you're doing affiliate marketing for SFM, right?
Yes, but this is a different avatar to the SFM.
Yeah, but when you're doing something that you are really standing behind that, then you don't care so much about what other people think, and that might be a hook to help people understand they only think so much about other people because they are not living their lives. So
yes. Yeah.
Have you thought about the way you look on other people? If you have some people, there's some people you like, and you will like them no matter if they screw up or do something bad or anything, you would like them anyway. And then there's some other people you don't like, even if they do something very brilliant, you still don't like them. It's a mechanic we have within. That's also a point of view that we don't have to care about what other people think about us, because those people who like us, they will like us no matter what, and those people who don't like us, they won't like you no matter what. It's a waste of time anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that almost translates like caring about what other people think brought me here where I am right now, and that's not where I want to be, right? It's kind of opening that can, yes.
And Stu talks a lot about this. This reminds me about his videos. One of the reasons it hooked me was he said, be careful what kind of business you start. Or maybe it was Jay that said this, but careful what business you start, because you might find that you start a business that you don't want to be in and you're trapped in it.
Isn't that kind of what most people of us ended up with before we even came on board? I mean, if I talk for myself, that's definitely the case.
I have a basic question. I'm sorry, I have just a basic question. Can you explain again what is the difference between controlling argument and hook? Just for my knowledge. Or somebody can explain me.
Well, the controlling argument is the main theme of the ad.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about, and the hook is what's bringing them in at this, what's going to capture their attention at the very start. So what's going to break state and get them to pay attention to what you have to say.
The hook is kind of, you can take that literally, right? It's like the hook bringing you in.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just the first sentence or two, or two of the video to make them wake up and pay attention.
Which means that for every controlling argument, you could have like 20 hooks that are kind of aligned with that controlling argument. Yes. And of course, you can write it as a hook as well. Yeah. Great. So we had several groups. Does anybody want to come out from a group and say, okay, this is stuff we were struggling with, that we could help you in this process, that you feel you haven't got that controlling? Yeah, Matt?
Only the hypothetical example to support your controlling argument. Struggling to identify what that would be, a hypothetical example.
Okay. So is everybody prepared to help Matt, and we brainstorm together a little bit?
I was just about to say, it's interesting, Matt, that you bring it up, because we didn't even get into that at all.
Yeah, we didn't get that far. We just got everyone's just controlling argument discussed kind of thing, and that's as far as we got.
Yeah, but that's fine. I think what we can do, if my proposal would be like, let's spend another 10 minutes in the group, so we can bring from the separate groups what we've all learned and what we're still struggling with. And then we can break out again once more, if that's okay with you guys, to do the next bit, right? Yeah. So if you're struggling with the process, then do note it in chat, for instance, that we definitely not miss it. Yes. And if you guys are okay, then let's brainstorm, 5 or 10 minutes and help Matt out, because then that could set him off for his next episode.
Just a question, guys. I mean, I just saw some comments on the same notes as well. I mean, we didn't necessarily agree on a time slot for this session, but at least myself, I need to jump off in, let's say, 10 minutes or so for dinner, right? I mean, do we all want to continue? Do we want to have a follow-up session maybe later this week? Well,
yeah, type in the chat if you want a follow-up session. Just say yes if you want a follow-up session.
Boom, I got that answer. Awesome.
How many yeses is that?
I did actually briefly say this with Paul at the start of the week, that you guys might want to follow up. And I think to try and keep it within the same week, if everyone's free sometime Friday, I thought might be good. Purely because we're going to be completely mind blown again Sunday for Sunday session, and you're probably not going to want to bring this into next week. But there's no reason why we can't still keep jumping in and out of the group we've got in mentors, and for weeks and months to come, we can just throw up webinars, we can jump on mastermind together, you know, just have little sessions like this over the coming weeks and months, you know. Happy to do that.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we have enough traction to do another session. And yeah. Avery?
I just think that this is very powerful and very, very useful. And I think the more regularly, I mean, if we could do a weekly marketing mastery Zoom call like this, I mean, I think it would really progress all of us a lot. I mean, I know it takes effort to do it, but I'm getting a lot out of it. I mean, the breakout groups and the discussion, and I'm sure other people can echo it, but I mean, it really makes me feel less in the path, you know.
Yeah,
and
particularly while the summit's on, you know, like to debrief Sunday. I know some people in our group said they were a bit overwhelmed by the level of tech and depth that it went into. And this session today, I think everyone in our group really got nailed things really well, discussing what was discussed on Sunday. So I think this is kind of needed. So yeah, that's how everyone feels maybe.
Yeah.
Would everyone prefer an hour earlier Friday if we did it at 10 p.m. Eastern? I don't know where you all are in the world. I'm in the UK, so for me that would be 3 p.m. in the afternoon. How does that go? How does that suit you guys? 3 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm doing that in my head. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Happy days. And again, we can like run it as long as you want. So do you want to call it for today, or do you want to roll on for a bit longer?
Anybody with everything we've done today, still the next thing is going to be to go into these hypothetical examples, right? And the questions, etc. So, but for today, what we wanted to do today, is there any like struggle with the process or the definition of some of these things?
Oh,
yeah.
I think I've got an idea what the controlling argument is. I missed the first 10 minutes. Could you just summarize exactly what the process is, just so I can hear it a second time from a different angle?
You mean the process to get to the? You mean the process to get to the controlling argument?
Just so I don't leave any stone unturned. Just say it again to me.
What it is, a controlling argument, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So to give you an example, for instance, Caroline volunteered today to say, for instance, job does not equal security, comma, nowadays. You could even write then, yes? So it's a statement or a question where you really question the belief that exists today. Let's say where 80% of the people still are today, right? And like it was said earlier, it's often where you also find your hooks inside of these things as well. Yes. So another example, in my area is like, how secure is a job versus a business, comma, nowadays, question mark. So you're really questioning where people are questioning the risk attached to business, have always done, but now you're transposing this onto a job. So you think business is risky. What about a job nowadays, right? Can you see where we're going with that, Bruce?
I can see, yeah, you're making a statement. So you're saying your controlling argument is your theme for your whole ad. You're going to be, this theme that you just said, job does not equal security, you're going to be repeating this throughout your ad and giving lots of different angles and arguments as to why a job is not security.
Yeah, I mean, first you need that clarity, what the belief is that you're challenging, yes? And then in your ads, what you're doing is, even though you tell your story, you need to make sure, and watch Caroline Antonio's recordings of the Scrap the 9 to 5, by the way, because she does a fantastic job. And she made me aware of kind of always go back, even within your story, to that controlling argument. Because the danger is that we all go off and we're kind of stuck in our story all the time. And she reminded me that, yes, you bring your story, like for instance, in my childhood, I've experienced poverty because my father's business went bust, right? And this is where I also, realized that security is like a really shaky thing. So I keep going back to the controlling argument, to security. Yes, okay. So that is what it helps you doing. It helps to keep you on track, to always refer back to that controlling argument with whatever you do in your hook, in your story, and even in your offer. Because if you're offering, like I'm offering you the video series, which are going to show you other ways to gain security that you never were aware of, for instance. Yes, so that's the offer, which is the CTA. Yes, and look, it goes all the way back to the front, which is that controlling argument. You've never lost sight of that. Yes.
No, that's brilliant. Yeah, I just needed to hear it again, just to make sure.
Yes. No, great question. And I think it's a case of often disentangling, because you will have different threads. And when you lay them out on paper, then you can say, okay, that's one, that's another one, but let's go with one, let's pick one.
I think that's where the problem has been, just tangling too many different threads into one ad.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Can I just say, just if anybody's really struggling with this, because obviously we're going to start moving on to the hypothetical and metaphors and analogies and all that kind of stuff on the next one. So if anybody is still really struggling, feel free to reach out, because I've been working with Dan on this exact thing for the last few months. So I've kind of got my head around it. Probably it's all new to you guys, whereas I've got my head around it a little bit more. So if anybody is really struggling, then reach out and we can jump on a call, or maybe like just 4 or 5 of us on a call, and we can go through and mastermind together in smaller groups. So if you do need help, just let me know.
Brilliant, Biba. Fantastic. Yes. And it probably wouldn't hurt, like next time when we set off again, is just to recap a little bit on that. Yeah. So that everybody's clear again on what that controlling argument is, and then we can set off in the right fashion for the rest of the exercise.
I think that's a good theme anyway, because there was so much to digest. It's really, no matter how intelligent, it's just nice to be reminded of what we were told as well, because
yes,
it's such an important part of creating an ad. So yeah, really appreciate it.
Great, fantastic.
That it's really great to focus on the argument, but I want to remember, like, let's remember what we're actually offering people too, and that's what we're going to get to next, right? Is because if we spend too much time in our ads focusing on the controlling argument and not enough time on like what we're actually proposing as a solution, I think getting these controlling arguments into a succinct way, because I notice one thing I've noticed when I see some of these ads that people put there, some of them are really long. Has anyone else experienced that, where you see the ad, you click on it, next thing you know, you're sitting there for 20 minutes, this guy's rambling on, it's 20 minutes before they ever get to what they're actually showing you. And so it's like they spend all this time talking about the problem, which you can relate to, but I mean, sometimes it just goes on so long, you're like, lose your patience, and you're just like, I can't even listen to this,
Great points, yeah. And yeah, we will try and make that part of the exercise that we'll do, that we're really clear on what we're offering. Again, Caroline Antonia's calls in the Scrub the 9 to 5 makes that very clear. So I invite everybody to watch those the past couple of weeks. Yeah, brilliant. Great.
Add one more thing
Please.
On top of that, Paul, just to clarify the whole controlling argument thing. I think think of it as a theme or a thread is a really good idea, but that doesn't mean that everything has to be about that exact controlling argument. It's about, that's the theme, that's the point you're trying to make, to shift a belief, and that you use it to that to shift a belief, to open up the space to then introduce your offer. So that's the kind of point, is that it's, what's the point you're trying to make? What is it you're trying to tell them or show them that they didn't realize before? What's the realization that then, either gets rid of the blue bar, the fears and the doubts and the objections, or suddenly increases their desire, the red bit, up to a point where they want to take some action, and it clears that space. And then that's when you bring your offer in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there are many different ways of doing this, of course. Yes, different styles. But I think we also, that's what I became aware of, is like when you're entering your ad, and with the hook and everything, it's like you're opening a loop, right? And I've seen this myself, that I lack closing the loop, which is, you know, you're opening a loop, but then you need to close the loop. It's like, I've taken you all the way around, and I'm coming back to, yes, security from the controlling argument. That's, you know, that's what I'm closing the loop, right? And that, I think, is something that I've become aware of, is like, yes, we can venture off, but then we need to kind of bring it back to like, this is what we're talking about and why. Yeah, so that's what I became aware of in the script. Great, guys. Fantastic. Shall we close here, John and Biba?
Yeah. Yeah, Paul. I'm mesmerized. Paul, you're amazing. Honestly, love it. Love it.
I love all of you guys. That, you know, we had fun in the room, that brainstorming, and I think, you know, when you keep the pressure on a bit, like, you need to come up with the stuff. This is when it comes to the crux, because I think the challenge is, and I'm glad that Bruce brought this up, the danger is that we keep stuck in our stories, and I know this so well for myself. Like, I needed to go through this summit again to kind of make me realize that, and say, put the stuff down. What is it? Tell it, say it, right? And that, I think, hope that the brainstorm pressure, kind of, the pressure pot will then crack, and it, you know, and the brainstorm brings it out. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Great.
Love it.
Paul, can
Just
I
a
say
quick
something?
one.
No.
Oh, no, go on.
Just a quick one. That will help me a lot, guys. The controlling argument, our avatar, myself, are still stuck because they believe the controlling argument. Is that correct?
That is still your belief.
Oh.
So,
Yes, Ari,
give us an example, Ari.
For example, sorry about this, success in a career or a business cannot go together hand in hand with living your best life. Because when you believe that, you keep stuck, don't you? So to make it a question in an ad to say, actually, do you get me? If you believe that, you stay stuck. But if you can make a turn to that, a twist, then
you can put it as a question, and then it becomes a controlling argument possibly as well. Yes. So essentially what you're saying is like, having success in a career cannot go hand in hand with, what did you say at the end?
With living your best life.
With living your best life. Yes. So then it becomes like a challenging thing. Like, is that true? Right.
Correct.
And when you put a question mark behind it, can it go hand in hand with, right? Because a lot of people actually don't believe that. They sacrifice family time, they sacrifice lots of things. So it kind of opens that kind of worms.
Yes.
Right? Yes, and it's both a controlling argument. It questions a belief.
Okay.
That sounds to me very similar to my high school girlfriend's father, who was a Vietnam vet. And he always voted conservative, very much rigid in his beliefs about this or that. But then when you sit down, I mean, and you talk to him, he would smoke pot. And I remember as a teenager smoking a joint with him, and he would start talking about all the stuff that he thinks. And it was really liberal. He was actually a really thoughtful guy. But then because he had gone through Vietnam and had all this trauma, right? He had to justify it by saying it was right. And it's just, it sounds the same. You could live your whole life in a job that you hate, and in order to justify it, you say, hey, well, you can't have a career that is in line with what you love because, you know, but it's maybe just used to not make the switch.
So what you're suggesting, Avery, is we should make all our customer avatars high and then convince them that we're right.
No, I'm not suggesting that, but I mean, I don't know, maybe it would help.
Or send them all to Vietnam.
No, but it's also about fear and vanity that we all have everything, but there also is a vanity about that I did choose right, and what I'm doing is the right thing, and one's vanity can keep one from seeing that there's other things, or maybe it was a bad choice you made. I think you're talking about vanity with this guy, Vietnam guy.
Can I say something as well, Ari, in relation to what you were saying? I think what the statement, or when you put a question mark, I don't know, like Paul said, behind that, it's more of a polarizing more than it's the controlling argument. I don't know if anybody else would agree with that, but it's like, can you say the sentence again?
Yes, thank you. Success in a career or business cannot go hand in hand with living your best life.
Can it? Right. So
Cannot.
I put the question right, but that would polarize people. If you do that as a question in the beginning as a hook, you've also polarized, because the people who would say yes, it has to, they will be off, you know, and the people think, I don't know, maybe there's something possible here. They will stick. Am I right, guys? Is it like sort of a polarizing question?
That the way he phrased it right now, exactly, yes. And you know, that's a good point as well. You can choose to do that,
but so
or you can also, like we said earlier, put it as a question. And the third option is to put it like this: I always thought that, comma, right? And then you got a controlling argument as well, because then what you're leading people into, so by saying, I always thought that, comma, and then your belief, Ari, then you're taking them along on questioning that. Yes?
So the controlling argument is posing a statement or a question or a thought or a belief in a way that you can create a balanced, you can write a balanced argument within your script as to why they believe that, or like you used to believe that, or they shouldn't believe that, but obviously you wouldn't say it like that. But you've got to be able to write, whatever your controlling argument is, you've got to be able to write a balanced argument about that statement. So that will then feed all the way through your script. And then you feed it into your call to action at the end, which will then you feed it back again to the controlling argument. So you make sure you revert back to the controlling argument again at the end.
Yeah.
Did that make any sense?
Brilliant. Yes, absolutely. Ari, not quite convinced yet?
Yeah, but I've got enough of your time. Thank you.
But that's okay. I think during the next exercises, you know, you can really get it down, make sure that you have it. That's important.
I might take Bibba up on her offer.
The result should be there. That's the whole point of this thing, right?
Maybe you should do, you should definitely hold that webinar and just tell us everything that you've learned in the last 3 months. That'd be quite handy.
Did what I just say make sense? Because sometimes it all comes out, but it doesn't really make sense to people. Did that make sense?
I think we just need to hear it from lots of different angles, because it will go in. It's great. It's good. Thanks.
That's what's great about masterminding, because again, sometimes it takes 5 people saying the same thing to you in just a slightly different way, and then all of a sudden the penny drops. I know that's it's with me all the time. So yeah. Awesome stuff.
Great.
Are we all ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
I know we said 3 o'clock Friday UK time. I am aware Rachel's pointed it out to me that it does overlap with the Elite Insights sessions, which I think is a new one, part 1 of Valerie's. Are you guys still happy to run with 3 and catch the recording of the Elite if you wanted to, or do you want to book a later, or do you want to do a later time? Book a later time. What are your thoughts, guys? What do you want to do? Yeah, stick it in the chat. That's probably easier. I think we're going with 3. Cool. For those of you who can't make it for whatever reason, we will definitely put the recording in there, or somehow put it somewhere so that you can see it. I know stuff seems to like disappear when it goes in the mentors group into the abyss.
Can you load videos in there? Do you know, John? Like long ones like this?
I'm not sure, but there is the other possibility you can do is we can upload it to one of our YouTube channels as a private video, and then just share that link in the mentors group so as that we've got it. So
Right, gotcha. Yeah.
we can always do that.
Okay, brilliant.
Awesome stuff.
Very good. So the host, Biba, if you close the meeting.
Appreciate you all turning out today. Thanks. It's been awesome. We'll see you Friday.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Biba. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.